There is a lot going on in this market right now, and I'm going to break it all down for you, show you where Bitcoin might be going. Are we going to continue dropping lower? Do we have a chance at recovering? Really just breaking it all down for you with what's been going on in this market over the last kind of 24, 48 hours. Things took a really bad turn here, and I want to break down everything that I'm seeing for you. So if you haven't heard, the reason, the fundamental kind of news reason that this is happening in the market, and we're gonna talk about what's actually going on so you guys understand the context. But ultimately, guys, this channel is a trading focused, analysis TA focused channel, and the reason for that is because numbers, these charts, they can't lie, but people absolutely can and will. So we are going to talk about the basic context just so you know what's going on. Even if you've already heard of it, I'm going to tell you kind of my take on this, but we're going to focus much more of this video on what's actually going on with the chart. I have some really interesting things to show you, so if you're excited for that, do me a favor and smash up those likes as you're coming in to this YouTube video today. But let's start off with the boring stuff. Fortunately, I don't have to spend too much time on this, but this is the news about Binance planning to liquidate its FTX token holdings. All right, so FTX is one of the major crypto exchanges in this space, and there's recently been some news that they might be insolvent because of what's going on with their balance sheets versus the amount of coins that actually exist. I'm not going to get into the technicals of what is actually going on because it's not relevant for this, but there's a big kind of fear that's been spreading through the market about this, and it literally just started 2 days ago. And ultimately what this fear comes down to is, first of all, CZ, the CEO founder of Binance, the only shareholder of Binance, by the way, curiously, has began liquidating his FTT tokens in response to that kind of FUD that's been spreading in the market. And because he has so much, he's had so much of these tokens since, way back, it's going to take potentially months to sell these tokens, which is going to mean constant aggressive selling pressure, right? I mean, right here, there's $500-600 million, worth of FTT tokens that have started to be sold on Binance, and that could definitely continue over these next months, according to what CZ has said. So that's creating selling pressure, right? We always talk about the equilibrium between supply and demand. Right now, demand is probably dropping because people are going to be a little bit kind of worried about what's going on with the insolvency, but supply has shot up, massively shot up. So this is inevitably going to be dragging the price of FTX of FTT token down. And we can see this, right? I mean, if we just take a look at FTT against the dollar, I mean, it's had a steep drop. I mean, from 26 down to 18, and you best believe, guys, that there are market makers trying to stop this from happening, So this dump would be way more aggressive in real life if people weren't trying to save this market. And that's the fear in this market right now. That's what you guys need to understand before we go into the charts, is that if something like this is about to happen to FTX, and guys, again, I really have to stress, like, this isn't public knowledge usually, right? People don't usually know these things, but because of the kind of connections I've got in the space, I've seen how this stuff works behind the scenes, guys. There are really big players that are trying to stop this market from crashing right now. And that's not perhaps immediately obvious, but with this kind of really bad news, you'd expect a big crash, like a 50%, a 60% kind of like overnight. Guys, it's been a little bit. I mean, I think this is where the FUD really kind of started. I mean, it's been about 3 days and we're only down by 30%, right? So first of all, that in itself is a really big drop, but crucially, it hasn't dropped by too much in this time because it's being held up. Now, what happens when the people trying to prop this market up stop doing that? You know what I mean? Like, because they can't do this forever. It costs money to do this. It's a business risk ultimately to try and stop a token like this from dying. And obviously FTX has a lot of money, right? The CEO founder was actually trying to buy shares in Twitter with Elon Musk. So he's fucking loaded. He's got the money, but this is still a concerning point, to say the least. And what I think is really important to keep in mind, and where this fear is coming from, is that if we see a Celsius, a Luna type tragedy happening in this space again right now, what that's going to do, and what it has done for Bitcoin, is it's probably going to result in more selling pressure for coins like Bitcoin. Why? Well, that's simply going to be because if other tokens are getting sold off and people are feeling scared of this space, well, then people are not going to want to be in crypto, right? They're going to start exiting, so Bitcoin preemptively gets striked. That's what we've seen here. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with Bitcoin. This is a problem with another shitcoin, with another exchange that isn't particularly transparent about what they're doing. So this isn't a Bitcoin problem, but it affects Bitcoin because there's widespread fear in the market. So this, and here's the final thing I'm going to say before we start talking about the charts. In fact, we're going to start talking about the charts with this point, is that, guys, we're in a bear market right now, right? I really need to reiterate that we're not in a bullish market. Our default thing to do in this market is to lean bearish. And the reason that that's important is if we start to set lower highs, right, and then a sequence, and this isn't the only bearish thing that's hit the market, by the way, as far as news, there's other bearish news headlines that have conveniently dropped right when the market has conveniently set a brand new lower high. This is exactly what we would expect to happen in terms of market manipulation, that these kind of news things are triggered at these points in the market. You know, we didn't get this news over here. We didn't get this news over here. We didn't get it down here. We got it right at a top, which is a subsequently lower high than what we've seen before. It's extremely clear market manipulation, and it's been going on for as long as I can remember in this space. But crucially, because we're in a bear market, anytime something scary happens, that is going to get magnified, right? So cast your minds back to what was happening in 2020 and 2021, right? Back then, you would think of every reason to be bullish about these markets, right? I mean, you would have no reason to doubt the market. You would be very excited and very much looking forward to what might be going on in the market, to the point where anytime there's bullish news, you'd jump on that. You'd get super excited by it. I don't know why my chart's not loading. You'd jump on it and get super excited by it. Everything would look absolutely beautiful to you. And then when kind of scary things did happen, you'd kind of just brush them off, right? So it's the opposite of what we're seeing right now, where now when good things are happening in the market, we're not really responding to it very much because we've got that default bearish market bias, because we've been trending down for so long and by so much. But on the flip side, when bad things start to happen, fear is going to spread into the market quite quickly. Now, if you were watching my previous videos, you're going to know that I was very bullish on the market right up until this news hit the market. Right up until this time, I was very bullish. In fact, I even had a long position that I was telling VIPs about. So that's the position that I was teasing to you guys on this YouTube channel. I said that VIPs know what I'm going to be doing in this market. That was it. I was looking to take on long positions, and I did, but I had to inform VIP members fairly shortly after that position opened that I closed out the rest of my position close to break even at a 4% loss, right? So previously what I did was I saw this news hitting the market, and I was like, I can still probably trade this. I felt like I could still be in that trade, but then I felt like things were getting worse, and I tightened my stop loss. And I told VIPs about that. Then I kept watching it, and I felt like this isn't looking great. I should close half of my position at close to break even. So that was closed at about a 3.4% loss. Then time went on, and I felt like I'm just not comfortable staying in a leveraged position at this stage. So I closed out the rest of it. And so these are three very distinct updates I gave to VIP members about the progression of that position. And it was because I'm there. My team is there with me watching the market so that I know I can take in as much relevant information as quickly as possible. Now, if I stayed in that position, I would probably be I would be liquidated by now, most likely. So I would have lost 100% of my money. And the fact that I've been able to watch it and just kind of make sure that I was on the right track. And by the way, you might be worried about time zones and stuff like that if you're considering joining VIP. Guys, this news event took like 12 hours to transpire. So there's always time, like I'm not a day trader, and I'm not making like really hasty decisions where I see something and I need to be in it, within the next few hours. Usually I'll plan a trade out and I'll set my orders, and it's slow, it moves across one day or across 3 days or like a week. It's not like I'm in a position and then I leave that position within a 4-hour time span. That doesn't happen. I'm not that kind of trader, and I'll never be that kind of trader again, because it doesn't work. this is my trading style, and this is what I had to do when I saw this reaction in the market. So this is a lot of crucial backstory to what's happened, but let's talk about what might happen next. And we're going to start off with some more normal analysis. So first of all, we started to kind of bounce off this red line, which was absolutely great, but we then lost it, and we got a kiss of death right here, where we fell below this line, came right back up to find some resistance, and then dropped substantially lower. Now that also means that we plunged below $20,000, so we're no longer setting higher lows, and we're probably no longer going to be setting higher highs as well. So our short-term downtrend is over. Now what we could do is very quickly recover this and come back up, and then this just looks like a deviation, but I don't think that's going to happen because there is some genuinely scary news that's come in and spooked the market. And so actually, guys, the situation that we're wrestling with right now, that's the dollar, we don't need to talk about that right now. The situation that we're wrestling with right now is another classic circumstance where we've risen into a daily Ichimoku cloud of resistance, which we were warning you about on this YouTube channel, although I didn't think it'd be a problem, and I'm going to get to this in a little bit, because I know that I'm painting a pretty bad, scary image right now, but it's not actually all that bad in my opinion, and I'm going to get to why a little bit later on. So if you're excited for that, do me a favor, just punch up that like button if you haven't done so already. Double check that you're subscribed and you've got that bell icon checked as well, so you don't miss out on this very time sensitive content. But we had this one day Ichimoku cloud right here that's rejected Bitcoin once, twice, thrice, and now a fourth time in a row over here. And this is crucial because so far we've only dropped down by 9%, so it's not that bad, and the cloud is pretty thin, right? I mean, we got rejected while the cloud is pretty thick, but literally right now we've got the best opportunity that we might get in this market to break out of the cloud. And even if we don't take it, going into December, this cloud just isn't that thick. Like, it's just not that much of a concerning point for me. And when we can compare this to what's happened before, while it does look like we have at this point gotten, a real rejection from this indicator, which generally goes really badly for the market. And I actually covered it in my last video, and I showed you that, that could lead us down to kind of like, I think it was like $7,000 or something ridiculously low, based off what we've seen previously. While that is the case, and we have formed similar circumstances now, we haven't dropped by that much yet, and there is still a chance of recovery. I'm going to get to that stuff a little bit later. Before I get there though, I do need to also bring to your attention that on this daily time frame, if we look at the EMA ribbon, we have actually now lost our EMA support on the daily time frame. So we didn't really have it that much, but we did get this one bounce right here off our EMA ribbon. Now we're trading below it, and I think this is important because now that we've had this drop, we've lost a lot of pretty important support levels in my opinion. So when we talk about things getting bad, this is a great example of it, right? You look at this 4-hour Ichimoku cloud, we didn't really get to enjoy any support off it, and we've now lost it. This cloud is rapidly shrinking, right? Look at how this cloud has closed off right here. This is going to turn into resistance very soon if we don't make a recovery very soon. And obviously the chances of that happening probably aren't great right now, given how strong this dump has been, and the fact that actually this market is suffering from some quite bearish news being spread through it as well. And again, we take a closer look at this Ichimoku cloud rejection, and generally when we're falling out of the cloud, we get really big red candles, and we haven't had that in the same way. Now, granted, there's less space to drop in the first place, right? If we assume the same floor at basically $19,000, which is to say that we're forming some sort of like descending triangle, we have less that we can drop by anyway. So this isn't really a bullish point for the market, but what I like seeing nonetheless is that this dump isn't as intense as we saw before. So again, when we're looking for silver linings, this is a good one that I'm liking, the appearance of so far, but ultimately, guys, what I think is also worth noting is that this is our strongest area of support, and this is where we're going to start becoming a little bit more positive with the video. The strongest area of support that Bitcoin has is this range right here. If we draw a box to represent where the bulk of the trading happened, it is going to be right around over here. I mean, this is where most of the market was trading for a very, very long period of time, which I'm sure you guys remember very well. 38 days, guys. We basically didn't do anything. beyond this box right here. I mean, we had a few exceptions, but they were very short-lived. And even before this, if we extend this box further, we got a key reversal down in this range and several more key reversals going all the way back to June of this year. That's about 5 months ago. This is a very long-term important price level for Bitcoin, kind of anywhere between 18.6 up to 19.5. Very, very good important level for Bitcoin. So to see that we're down here now isn't that concerning to me when we consider that we have really good support here. Like, we're actually in a pretty damn good position as far as support levels go for the market. And I think that's really important to keep in mind as a trader right now, because if we are looking at this being a really good support level, well then it might make sense to start buying, right? It might make sense to consider, some low risk, low positions. I'm saying this because this is what I'm considering doing right now, because we're at a support level. And guys, the market is scared right now. Let's refresh the fear and greed index, and we're not going to get the most up-to-date data, which we definitely need at a time like this because the market has dropped by quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, this isn't very up to date, but we did drop quite substantially, right? From 40, we've dropped all the way back down to 31. And when this which is going to take a long time, but when this updates in the next kind of 16 hours, and the dump happened today, right? So the dump happened in the last 8 hours since this update happened. When we get the fresh update, assuming we're at similar price levels, we're going to probably see this fear and greed index representing that we're back in extreme fear. And I think that's absolutely great. That's exactly where we want to be if we're expecting bigger moves to the upside in the market. We take a look at what's going on with the trading sizes now, and let's actually switch to a smaller time frame, like the last 4 hours, which is kind of where a lot of the dump happened. And actually, let's go to the last 12 hours. Yeah, and look at this, guys. We've got huge long positions piling in on Binance, actually. This is showing that, to be fair, we might have a little bit more downside to go. But other exchanges, Bybit and FTX, showing that the majority of the traders are short right now. Mixed signals here, to be quite honest with you. But what we didn't have previously is we didn't have a good setup where this market is leaning overall more bearish, right? I mean, it became a little bit more neutral, and it is a little bit more neutral still, but the fact that we've had this shakeup now, and the fact that we're gonna see a big drop in our sentiment, and the fact that, I mean, you don't need to look at this data to know that people are scared, right? I mean, the fact that this dump happened is representative of the fear, because nothing actually happened to Bitcoin, but people are selling it in anticipation of a disaster like Celsius and Luna happening to FTX, because FTX is a very, very big player in the space. So if they go down, that's probably going to reflect badly on FTX's token, and of course on Bitcoin, and also all the other bad attention that it brings, right? Every time a stupid company does something stupid, like what happened to Celsius or like what happened to Luna, and so on and so forth, that brings bad attention to crypto. That brings a desire for regulators to regulate, and that takes people out of the crypto space because they feel unsafe, because bad things like this can happen. And like, what if you've got your money trapped on exchanges? This is a really big deal that I've been saying for a very long time. A lot of people are kind of rushing to get their money out of FTX now, which I don't think you necessarily need to do, but it's always a good idea to have your risk spread out. And that's why I've been talking to you guys about BitGet, right? I mean, I know that we all obviously have our exchanges by now. We've been trading on them for a long time, but if you think that this can't happen to the exchange that you're using, even if that exchange is BitGet or Bybit, which are the two exchanges that you guys know I primarily use now, you're fooling yourself. Like, news like this can just as well happen to Bybit or Binance or BitGet or any other number of exchanges, regardless of how much you think they're good, right? And you guys know that I'm a huge Bybit fanboy. I mean, I've been with them as a client and working with them for years now. And I've loved their service. But I'm not going to reject reality. Guys, Bybit could have a fucking disaster one day. They could get hacked. They could, the management could make a stupid decision. Any number of bad things can happen. And if you don't have backup exchanges and backup accounts, you're being extremely irresponsible. You're putting all your money in one place, hoping that a disaster doesn't happen. And if it happens and you can't get your money out, you're fucked. Guys, there ain't no fucking Bitcoin government, all right? If you start losing your Bitcoins, if problems happen with your exchange, you're not getting it back. No one's there to fight for you. There's no insurance that you can rely on. You need to take this responsibility into your own hands. And the best thing about this is that with the offers you've got available to you through this YouTube channel, like the free money that BitGet is giving you, right? If you deposit anything over $4,000 and trade just a little bit, you're going to get a $400 bonus. That's free money that you can trade with. Same thing for Bybit, but you can get up to $4,000 in bonuses. Guys, with these offers available to you, not only can you diversify your risk, which is a really good time, like now is a really good time to do that because people are starting to get scared in the space again. And these kind of bad news events, they generally tend to hit at the same time. Like I said, we got this bearish event happening at the same time as other bearish news has started to re-enter the space. So, you know, when it rains, it pours kind of thing, especially at market tops. Like, this is a really good time to take advantage of it, but it's even better that you're getting something out of it. So take advantage of these things if that kind of risk management is something that sounds important to you. Obviously, you're going to care more about this if you have a significant sum of money, but you know, I think most people in this space wouldn't want to lose their cash at all. And if it means diversifying a little bit but getting paid to do it, you know, I think that's a really, really cool offer. So guys, check them both out with the links in the description down below. And if you do want to get inside of 4Fly's VIP, right, here's an example of where, you know, a bad position ends up going totally fine. You know, break even / 4% loss, really no big deal, especially when you consider that I closed profits right up to 55% in my previous trade a week ago. You know, and here's a few examples of VIP members that just absolutely crushed it, right? This guy actually performed a little bit better than me, got a better entry level, but still in a 50% profit at this price level. Super happy with how his trade has gone. Another member just absolutely destroying the market with a 2,100% profit on Link. Just huge gains that we've seen in VIP recently from myself and from other members, including now the flip side of that, because I'm a real trader, right? I lose money sometimes too. Fuck me, right? This is part of the game. You know, this is what it looks like in VIP when it's shining, when the sun is shining, and when it's not. So if you want to get yourself inside, just pause the video and click on each of these red boxes to get yourself inside. When you get to the message part, just ask me how to join, and this is a direct chat with me where you can ask me anything you like and all that good stuff, and I'll answer your questions to get you inside of VIP. Now, moving us back to the market though, you know, what I think is really nice is the fact that we have this support area, and the fact that I think we're going to see, you know, yeah, quite a bit of kind of fear and uncertainty spreading in this market. And this is quite a big, you know, quick dump. You know, if the market is able to recover it, the good news is that if we kind of take it back to this Ichimoku cloud, we do have a fairly thin cloud here where we could end up breaking it. So I don't want you guys to be completely closed off to the idea that this thing can't recover now, especially because, you know, I did start to see, and I was pointing it out to you guys, that there was, you know, a decent amount of excitement in the space. Now, I didn't feel like it was too much, but now that it's probably going to be gone, I feel like that's a really good market reset. And you know what, if what we have on a macro scale is something a little bit like this, right, in terms of the lows that the market is setting, then that's okay, you know. And if this is how it looks in terms of the highs that the market is setting, then that's okay. We're still, you know, I mean, we have to readjust how we look at it, which isn't good practice, but on a slightly more zoomed out perspective, we're still setting higher lows and higher highs. So if we do manage to recover from here, I actually think we've got an amazing silver lining, and I firmly believe that Bitcoin is going to be in a better position to rise up further if we end up getting a recovery from here, because now we've really allowed the bears to sell off, right? So what this would look like, by the way, is okay, Binance is going to keep liquidating its FTT, whatever. That's constant selling pressure. Not great, but not terrible in my opinion either. You know, what I think could happen is that if this blows over and if FTX actually isn't insolvent, and Sam has responded to this, Caroline, who manages Alameda Research, has also responded to this. And again, we're not going to get into the specifics, but you can read about this if you're interested. They've given several forms of reassurance to show us that they're not insolvent and that they're actually good. And if what they're saying is true, then they're probably absolutely fine. the question is, are they lying? And guys, let's be honest, you know, I mean, it's not like the crypto space is full of saints and you know, deeply honest people. It's just not. So yeah, likely they are lying. Let's not be, you know, let's not be idiots here. You know, but if they're not lying, and there is a chance that they're not lying, then this can all blow over. And really, the only source of fear that resulted in this market dump, if this gets resolved, is going to be gone. And what the end result will be is that we've had a really good chance to flush out the bears. We've had a really good chance to let bulls and big players in the market have a second chance at accumulating a $19,500, $19,300 Bitcoin. And then the market is ready to just send it and absolutely fly up. Do you think that sounds unrealistic? Guys, I don't. I actually think that sounds really realistic, and especially considering that we've now got this really nice area of support here. I'm liking what I'm seeing now. If we lose this area of support, that's it. In my opinion, that's game over, and we are firmly on a longer term perspective, in a pattern of setting lower highs. So that would be it. And I really wouldn't see anything else good happening for the space. And I would expect that Bitcoin falls very, very deep into the teens. And I would expect this to get really, really shit. But the other factors that I've been outlining for you guys still exist, right? The first chart that I have here for you guys to show you is the dollar. And the dollar hasn't really moved up to result in this dump. So it's fair to say that everything I was saying about the dollar, in my opinion, everything that I was saying about the dollar as far as why the dollar might be weak and getting weaker, at least in this kind of short/mid-term perspective, still applies, because Bitcoin didn't drop as a result of the dollar getting stronger. Bitcoin dropped as a result of people just being scared of some FUD that's been spreading in the market. That's not the same thing, which means that we've got a really important bullish factor still on our side, guys. You look at the dollar right here, waiting for this chart to load up. It's actually pretty low at 110.4. So, you know, what would make this worse for sure is if this was happening and the dollar was looking strong, but it's not. The dollar is looking like it might actually be ready to sweep its previous low, right? It's finding a little bit of support right here, but as soon as this support goes, if it does, you know, and it's a potential kind of triple bottom circumstance, but man, if this support goes, I don't think we're holding this low. I think we're probably going to drop a lot lower, and that should help Bitcoin quite a bit. You know, also we look at the S&P 500, which is one of the single most important you know, kind of charts that we could look at a time like this, in my opinion. And the S&P 500 is up today by 1%. So again, this isn't a problem where people don't want to speculate. This is really, really important, guys. Crypto traders are fucking bipolar little children. Okay, they switch. One day it's hot, one day it's cold, one day it's fun, one day it's scary. This is how it is in crypto. We're the most irrational, most emotional traders that I've ever seen in any space, which is why, if you know how to trade this stuff well, you can slay the markets. And of course, guys, do it on an exchange that's going to pay you. BitGet, by the way, with these beautiful bonuses, available anywhere in the world without a VPN and without KYC, which is very, very cool indeed. Guys, you know, Bitcoin, crypto is like that, but what we are seeing here from the S&P 500 rising up for a second day in a row, kind of a second day in a row, we are seeing that we're continuing to get rises up here while Bitcoin is starting to suffer a little bit. And I think that's really, really important. I think that's a really, really important sign, because that's showing us that people with money still want to speculate. It's just that Bitcoin looks scary right now. And this is a very short-term thing, you know, like anytime we get bearish news like this, you know, there's been a lot of, like, for example, so this probably wouldn't be a great example, but Celsius, Luna, and so on, like when those crashes happen, the markets were still able to rally after that, right? Like, people just forget about things like this afterwards. Right now it's very fresh in the market, so people are scared, and it's probably going to stay fresh for a little bit, because clearly, like I said earlier on in this video, market manipulators are trying to they're trying to push the market down. You know, so it might stay like this for a little bit, but this will blow over. And if the general kind of speculative environment is bullish right now, and there's actually, like, you know, a good amount of energy going in that direction, well, I'm fully expecting that that's going to go back to Bitcoin. But the circumstance that's different with Bitcoin now is that we've had a pullback. We've had a chance for bears to exit. We've had a chance for scared money to get out. You know, what we really want, guys, is we don't want a lot of people in the crypto space if we want the price to go up. Because if that's the case, if there's already a lot of people in the space, if there's already a lot of holders of Bitcoin, well, guys, they've already pressed the green button, right? If you've already pressed the green button, the only other button that you have to press is the red one, which means that the price can drop. Really simple, important thing to wrap your head around here. And when you start to think of it that way, it's actually really, really nice, right? I mean, it's very reassuring. We've had a nice rise. We've now fallen down to a support level. If it holds, big if, but if it holds, then all we've done here is we've exhausted more selling pressure before potentially sending this market very, very high. So there you go, guys. Super long video from me. Very, very in-depth breakdown of this drop that we've seen here. If you've appreciated this video, do me a favor, guys. Smash up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. Get yourself on BitGet and Bybit as well if you're interested in getting all of this free cash for basically nothing, for free really, you know, just by checking out what's going on with the links in the description down below. Again, phenomenal exchanges working very, very well. I use them myself. Obviously, Bybit I've got a lot of history with, but BitGet I have been using as well since earlier this year. And guys, both well worth checking out. While you're down there, if you want to get inside VIP, you know, I'm still in the profit on this position, by the way. This position closed in a very nice profit. It was like 30%. It beat out the whole market, and I closed profits up to like 55. So overall, sat in a really nice gain on this trade. Of course, VIP members outperforming me, which is absolutely beautiful. It's exactly what I like to see. You know, if you want to see what's been going on, you know, and this is all the good stuff, but what happens when the market starts going bad, how we handle that, right? I could have lost so much money on this drop. I mean, the drop itself, right? If we look at the drop from the high to where we are right now, was an 8% drop, and down to our absolute low, 9% drop. I could have lost 100% of my money, right? Because I was in a leveraged position. That's what happens in leverage. Anytime you have, if you have more than 1x leverage, so if you have 1.1, 2x, whatever, 3x leverage, you now have a possibility of losing 100% of your money. That could have happened to me, but I managed to close out pretty much at break even after seeing some really nice profits. Guys, that is what trading looks like, right? We're going for big wins and very controlled losses. These losses are the cost of doing business. This is the crypto space, and this is to be expected. That's why I've not just got me on my team as a trader, right? It's not just me, because we can't miss these things, and we don't miss these things, and we're able to bring them to you inside of VIP so I can show you what I'm seeing and tell you what I'm doing and why. So there you go, guys. If you want to get inside, follow that link in the description to 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 message. Once you've done that, very, very quick, straightforward process, no signups, no downloads or anything like that are required. You can get inside, ask me how to join, and that's it. I mean, we'll take it from there. We'll just talk and see if it's the right thing for you, and if it is, then welcome, and if not, absolutely no problem, because these videos ain't going anywhere either. If you want free content for me, that link in the description will still take you down to 𝗓𝗡lies Gold, and crucially, you know, with that, you can get more analysis from myself and my team completely free of charge. So if you like what you're seeing here on this YouTube channel, but you want even more, you want things that are more related to trading than what this YouTube channel is about, which is almost more analysis, that is going to be with the link in the description down to 𝗓𝗡lies Gold. So go ahead and check all of that out. Again, guys, super long video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, you know what to do, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers. Bye.